Okay, so good morning. I want to welcome you to the free business coaching session. And I have individuals and questions on from across the nation. So I'm just going to get us moving. And let's see. Mark, you're first. And now I wasn't sure how to answer this. Auditing as a grant source to hear
No,
issues that
it's not
might
really a question. It's a
need to
statement.
address.
I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
I'm just here and I'm listening to hear what problems are that people are trying to address, because when I hire people to do the grant requests, I'm going to know, like, okay, these are some things that are going to come up.
Mhm.
And I was actually hoping you'd have more people on to get more questions.
Well, I do. There are a few questions that I have, and they told me they wouldn't be able to be on, but they still went on and registered and submitted their questions.
Okay.
And that's why, too, I encourage you guys, as you're talking to people, please encourage them to either be on or submit their questions. So, because people are listening to the recordings afterwards.
Yeah. Well, we aren't going to be actually starting the grant process until probably the end of December or 1st of January.
Mm.
Because what happens is, even if I were to get turned down with the money right now, I've got a building to buy. I got to build out about 20 offices. I've got to hire the executive directors over everything, and they got to staff up.
Mm-hmm.
And so to think I'm going to be up in the air running before 1st of January is a little optimistic.
But you're looking to fund projects.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and that's why you're wanting to know what are the issues that people want to address so that you know what you're dealing with.
Right. There's the breadth of what we're looking at funding is the number one thing that we're being tasked by our money source is to put people back into business. Mm-hmm. That means if somebody who was damaged by COVID or the delivery problems, give me a 5-year look back. So what you got, what did you think you should have had versus what you actually had? We'll look at the gap here, and if we agree with it, we'll give you that money. That's as a grant, just to pay you back for what you should have had.
So you're doing something that most other funders will not do. You are actually giving funding to help replace what they should have gotten during that time frame.
That's step one. Step two, we take a look at the business, and if we agree with it, then we will give them up to 100% of what they were getting as an ongoing income.
Wow. You know, guys, hold on one second. So I think this is a delivery guy. Just give me just a moment. I'm also going to pause the recording. Give me a moment, please.
Okay.
Okay, Mom.
Mark, I know I said it last time, but again, I appreciate what you're doing. It's just such a great heart that you have for giving.
Well, I'm being helped along. I'm actually, I almost have a gun at my back. It says, you will perform, you will get the money out there.
Well, whoever's pushing is good too, then I guess.
Yeah, it's totally different. We're
Alrighty.
We're different. That's for sure.
Very good. Very
okay,
good.
Now to carry on from that. So
wait. Oh, okay, I did pause. I didn't pause the recording. I paused the share. Okay, I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm glad that you guys' conversation was still on.
Yeah. Well, next, okay. So first, we pay them back for what they should have had. We give them funding to carry them on, and if they have up to 20 people in their employ, I can handle it. And then what I do is I sign them up on employment contracts. And those employment contracts give them 2 to 3 times what they were getting and health care. And the business no longer pays for the employee. The business is involved on the setting of the prices and everything. And if they don't perform, they have the right to fire. If they fire them.
And how long are you supporting this kind of, for an organization? How long?
Say that again. My contract is for 100 years.
So someone that would come under your project, let's say it's my company.
Yeah.
And you would fund my project or bring me under your umbrella.
Yeah.
I could be on your project ongoing, or you would evaluate if the company has grown and maybe I don't need you anymore.
Well, if you don't need me anymore, that's fine. Contracts are allowed to be terminated. But the funding is there. And
But you wouldn't terminate it? Like suppose I end up being a $1.2 million company with your support, I would still be under you, or would you terminate that
no,
contract in order to have someone else come in and be?
unless they change the rules, we're operating on the rules that they've published so far. Unless they change the rules, there is no such thing as you got too big. They
Okay,
want success.
well,
Okay.
great.
So you get funding to put yourself back in position, some funding to make sure you stay in business, and we hire your people. But here's the catch. We want to have you take a look at the situations which is going forward that are going to change. For
Okay.
one, there's not going to be any IRS. It goes away. In fact, they've already fired 80,000 people from the IRS.
You know, that's one of the things that I'm going to discuss today, because one of the questions is dealing with that. So Mark, what we're going to do, because I'd love to hear more. Maybe what I would love to do, Mark, why don't I have you on my radio broadcast so we can dedicate the show to you and you talk about what you guys are planning to do. It doesn't even have to be a finished, but you can
I
just
have
talk
to get
about your idea.
approved. I have to get approved to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, if you can, because I'd love to dedicate more time for you to talk about the project.
Right. Okay. But
Okay.
there's only one last item. That is that there's several things that are not going to be in a cost anymore, and because the costs aren't going to be there, we're going to ask the business to greatly lower the prices.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Because
yeah,
since you're covering a lot of what their costs would need, what they would need their dollars for, that then allows them to lower their costs because you're paying the salaries that they normally would need the revenue for.
Right. And the government costs go away. That's the IRS, property taxes, and all the rules and regulations.
Would that
those
still be
corporations are out
paying
of
in,
business. Go ahead.
would that still be paying into their retirement and all of that?
They would, I think they would still be doing that. I don't know how that works out, but we're providing a lot of other funding too.
Okay.
To be part of this, they have to become a member, and remember, they get a personal, not the owner does, but everybody else gets an income that has to be discussed. And then the other two situations are if somebody's went out of business, we offer the money to put them back into business, but it has to be that they will be in business for a certain guaranteed time. They just don't get the money and go. They got to put themselves back in business. And somebody who is new wants to come into business, look at funding, take a look at the proposal, and give them a grant to start up, and they get under the same conditions as the existing business.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
I would love
sidelined.
to be able to share more about that. See if you can get approval to be on the air.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you, Mark. You guys, does that sound like a project that you'd probably want to be a part of? Me too. Now, Beverly in Tampa says, I haven't heard back from the IRS since submitting my application on August 24th. Is that an unusually long time? Absolutely. It is for organizations that I normally help to develop. But let me take you over now to the IRS site. And like Mark just said, the IRS now is extremely low on employees. And another one of my clients, I think she submitted, was it May? She just got a response from her IRS rep 2 weeks ago, and she had submitted in May. And so because this shortage, so let me take you over to their site. And now I'm confused on what they're saying here on this site, but let me just show you. You guys see my IRS screen? Mm-hmm. So they're saying here, like, see, the application has not been assigned if postmarked after this date. So like, see, for the form 1023, March 1st, 2023, if it hasn't been assigned, see, I'm confused by that because I do have clients that have submitted after that date and they've already been approved. So maybe this site is saying that if you haven't gotten yours, that maybe there's a backlog, but I have had clients that have submitted here in 2023 and they've already gotten their approval. So I came over to this site to look for direction. So, and that, like they're saying, don't call. There's no need to call. So what you want to do, Beverly, is keep an eye out on your emails and your mail. Now, with my client Celia, they had sent her something in the mail, and that's how she responded. But they said they had already sent a letter prior to that, and that she hadn't responded. And so you want to make sure, though, that you don't miss any communication from them. So did you receive a letter at all confirming that that your document had been received?
No, not that I've seen. I went into my emails just to do to search IRS in case something came through,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't get anything. And then as far as mail, I mean, unless something got lost in the mail, I haven't gotten any mail from them.
Well, she definitely got her letter in the mail, and then we ended up responding to them, and in that letter they provided a fax, so we were able to respond back via fax.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that they're behind because of the drop in employees.
Mm-hmm. So okay, so as far as this 1023, because that's the form, right?
That's the form.
Okay, so your application has not been assigned if postmarked after this date. So then mine was in August. So that
So
means
you're still waiting to be assigned a representative based off of this, because normally if you're not approved right away, there's some questions they have about your application. And so instead of you making that first pass, like let's say like an office, when the mail first comes in, it's received by the receptionist.
mm-hmm.
And then those individuals can be looking at your application, and if there's no questions that they need to send it to higher up, they approve it right then. That's usually the first pass that my applications get. And that's why I normally have gotten approvals in 8 days, 13 days, 30 days. And so if there's been a question about, that this lower level person can't answer, it's like they have to now assign it to a supervisor. And that's where the delay comes in. So if you haven't gotten your approval already, they're waiting to assign you to a representative that will communicate with you and now send back questions.
Okay, so right now that means it didn't get approved originally.
It didn't get approved with the first pass. Yeah.
Okay.
So now I can give you this link. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put this link in the chat.
Okay.
And and like it says, you can come back to this page and check for any updates or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So where did it say that? Let's see. How can I check? Somewhere it said you can come back to this page. Where was it? And see, it also has the phone number if it just gets too outrageously long. But expect when you're calling the exempt department,
Mm-hmm.
be prepared to be on at least an hour wait.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. Now you see this, the IRS receives 95,000 applications each year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they get even more right after the start of the year. That's why I tell people, like, if you're planning on submitting, your exempt application in 2024, try and do it now. So, okay. Any other questions? Did you get that out of the chat?
Yeah, I copied it to an email to myself.
Okay, great. Any other questions as far as that?
Well, no, I guess
Now, I'm going to answer some a question here in a moment that may help you to move forward as far as a fiscal sponsor. Have you considered a fiscal sponsor if you're waiting to go after grants right now?
So you mean like, maybe I don't understand the question.
Are you holding up going after grants until you get your exempt status?
Yeah.
Okay. You can go up under a fiscal sponsor, which is another tax exempt organization. And I'm going to be talking more about that here in just a moment.
Okay.
Okay. Now, yes. George out of Los Angeles. Oh, and I didn't even say hello. Hello, Dominique. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Sherita?
I am good. Real good. It's nice for you to be on. Now, George out of Los Angeles, he says, I have an auto mechanic shop. Can a piece of this business be a nonprofit? Well, now, first of all, let me say yes, but let me explain how. you can, oh, wait. A for-profit and a nonprofit cannot exist up under a for-profit, just like if you and your brother live together, you can't use each other's social security number. You can live together, you can cohesively go after things together to expand your home environment. But you guys make sure that you're muting yourself.
I'm live.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. But so like with this, oh, I keep going ahead. 1 second, you guys, come back. Okay, so you can have your for-profit business and develop a nonprofit component. So let's say, George, that you would like to start training individuals in automotive repair. Develop your nonprofit, have it as a job training component, and now you've got that staff that's there that can repair the cars that come in under your for-profit, because that's giving them, or excuse me, on the job training. But also you can go after grants that will cover the cost. Mark, grants will cover the cost to pay those employees. So it benefits your for-profit also, but now you've got a job training component that's covered financially through grants under your Auto Mechanic Foundation. And let me show you an example of how that could look, even to go after grants. So I'm going to branch out and go over to Google. So I'm going to just type in grants, comma, automotive training, or just auto repair. Let's look at that. So see, J&B grants, let's see, grants for automotive and car repair assistance, 10th K for small business grant ramps up business for Arkansas. And now let me add something more to that, and let's put in 2024. And let's add training. Grants for automotive repair programs, automotive service providers grants, student scholarships. So see, there's different kinds of funding that's available, but plus you can even take off auto repair because you're doing job training, which can be any kind. I want to put job training and auto repair together. So I'm going to put it in quotes to lock that in. So Women Foundation grant opportunities, grants for up to 150,000. Brownfield job training grants, training and employment services. So see, you just switch your different ways that you search, and it brings up even more opportunities. Now let's do something else. Let's put million. Oh, spell it right, Sherita. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, availability of approximately 12 million for President Biden's investing in America's agenda for environmental job training. President Biden's. State investing 15.2 million in workforce training. Governor Abbott announces 2.5 million for career development and training. Reimagine surpasses 2,000 enrollment mark for online training. So see, again, it's about just switching up what I call your tickler words. Anyone have any questions about any of this? None? So, George, I hope that answered your question. And George, let me say this. There was another client out of Los Angeles. He and his son had an automotive training business it had been, I guess, in their family for over 3 decades. And with the father getting older, the son's probably not wanting to stay into automotive repair. The dad didn't realize that with him getting older, he's saying, Sherita, my knees are bothering me and I don't want to be getting up under cars. He didn't realize that he could also be training virtually the same way that all of us are on right now. And he said, Sherita, how would I do that? I said, George, how often do you go to YouTube and look at auto repair videos? Okay. So I'm going to take us over to YouTube. It's moving slow because I'm on this Zoom. So if we search and look up auto repair, I mean, there's so many videos that people watch about auto repair, right? Like if we just go to this one, look how many views are there. For one, he's got 844K subscribers, and just on this one video, 244K views on this particular repair. So if people are going on YouTube to watch a video that they keep having to stop,
there's
and
one simple
replay,
vision hack anyone can use to
stop
improve
and
vision.
replay. Let me,
so you can
skip
say
this.
goodbye to your optometrist for good. Did you know that vision?
Whoa, would you look at that? It's big 4.7, 2007 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
So the same way that this guy is on and he's under the hood, many auto mechanics don't realize that you could actually have, like he's got a camera showing his hood. Every student, if they wanted you to help them with their repair, you could say, well, John, turn on your camera and make sure it's under the hood. So now John in Tuscaloosa, or however you say it, has his camera on, and he said, okay, you see right back there, see the red on the hood, and then okay, right below there,
I believe it's
and he's guiding him under his hood with the camera on. So a lot of auto repair mechanics don't realize that instead of just using YouTube, they could actually have live sessions. And the same way that I'm on with you guys right now in Q&A, he could have different people on that need some kind of assistance, have their camera on, and teaching them auto repair the same way that I'm on right now with Q&A with you guys. Okay. And you can do that with so many different kinds of programs. So I just wanted to
even do, they
go
can
ahead.
even do a top level.
Say that again.
Teach them how to find that video. So look,
Yes.
you want to do this kind of thing? Here's kind of people you could look at. If you got specific questions, we can work together.
Yes. Yes. And so, and see, again, you guys, COVID-19 opened up so many opportunities for people to see that their business can also expand virtually. Not that everything that you do has to be virtual, but this way you can touch individuals that can't be right there with you in person, and it expands your opportunities for you to do some things. And like with the guy wanting to transition from working under the cars, he can do this until he's dirt again. I mean, he could be 92 and on Zooms and still using his mind to help people repair their vehicles. Okay. So next, Margaret in Phoenix, she says, I've never considered grants or being a nonprofit. As a small business owner, yoga instructor, are there grants for me and my business? Absolutely. Now, I think the next, before I do that, Margaret, and for Beverly, I'm going to go, I think, to the next film with Justin. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is it. Justin in Baltimore. If I'm an entrepreneur and don't have an interest in becoming a nonprofit, how can I go after grants? Well, the answer to that is fiscal sponsorship. So like even you, Beverly, not having your tax exempt status yet, you can collaborate. Let's say that your sister or someone at your church that has their own nonprofit. You actually can go after your grants under their tax exemption, and it's called fiscal sponsorship. And so a fiscal sponsor is a tax exempt organization. They can share their 501c3 status with you, with non-tax exempt organizations and individuals. This allows your projects to receive grants and tax exempt donations right now from government, foundations, or individuals. Now, in addition, continuation of this question, a fiscal sponsor is a nonprofit organization that provides fiduciary oversight, meaning when they go after, when you get the grant, it's actually in their name, but it's said in the grant application and why they're getting the approval of the grant that the funding is for you. So now, you and your organization. So like, let's say, Beverly, that you are going after a $75,000 grant. That money is not the fiscal sponsors. It's just, they serve as the funnel, and the dollars funnel through them so that the donor gets that tax exempt write-off to that 501c3 organization, but the money doesn't stay with them. It funnels through them and goes out to you and your programs, Beverly, or it wasn't George that was just talking about that. I forget who it was. But so that's the process. So that's why it says that the fiscal sponsor is responsible for the fiduciary oversight, financial management, and other administrative services, meaning that they have to kind of watch you to make sure that you're doing what you said you were going to do with the grant. And they're the ones that, and then even when you report back to the grant funder, the reporting is done through the fiscal sponsor. Think of a fiscal sponsor like a cosigner. You wanted to go after this car and you got turned down, but then you go and get your dad or your uncle to co-sign for you. Now you got an approval, but the approval was based on their credit report. So if you don't make your payments, that co-signer is saying that that car dealership or the loan who's holding the loan can call them, and they're kind of responsible. That's why a lot of times people don't want to co-sign on a car, because if their niece or nephew reneges on that payment, they're going to be coming after the co-signer. Okay. Beverly, you have any questions as far as that?
Yeah, I was just wondering why, how and why would another organization want to do it? But if they did, I mean, how would I find someone that would do that, do you think?
That's why I said you would look at someone that you know. I mean, you know people around you that you affiliate with and in your business world that are a nonprofit, right? You don't know anyone that has a nonprofit?
I just never really noticed that, but I mean, now that I'm gonna look around, I'll be asking.
You mean in your world, you
Mhm.
don't know anyone that might have a child care center that's a nonprofit, or someone that has a youth after school program, or someone that's doing feeding in your community? You don't affiliate with anyone that has a nonprofit?
I may, but I just don't know it off the top of my head, you know.
Oh, okay.
If I think about it, I probably can think of.
Well, that's what you would want to do. You wouldn't want to ask a stranger.
No, no, no.
The same way you wouldn't ask a stranger to co-sign for you, because they if they are an established organization and have been a fiscal sponsor before, they want to know who you are and that they can believe that you're going to do what you say you're going to do with the grant if it's received.
Okay. And
So-
it doesn't have to be similar to what they're doing or anything related to what they're doing?
No, it does not. There are some organizations, like in California, it's called the California Community Foundation, I think it is, and they are a fiscal sponsor for hundreds of organizations. So it would be impossible for them to make sure that all of them are doing what they do, because all they do is serve as a fiscal sponsor.
Oh, so there are companies that are fiscal sponsors for other people,
Yes, yes,
and they don't have to know you. Those people
yes, because that's what they specialize in. So if you're wanting to go after someone that you don't know, search in your area and see, is there a possibility for a fiscal sponsor organization? Let's go online and see.
don't.
But what I would recommend first, Beverly, is that you look for someone that is close to you. The reason being, I do know of someone that have used an actual fiscal sponsor organization, and they didn't like all the stipulations that were in the contract.
Okay.
But that organization, because they're so big and they sponsor so many organizations, they had to do a tighter kind of oversight.
Of course.
So let's see what I can find. Fiscal sponsor organization. Like this one, I just typed in for Los Angeles because I was looking for the one that I knew of, like Charitable Allies Nonprofit Fiscal Sponsorship, offering full and basic support. Partner with Tides Foundation. So let's see, you're in Tampa, so let's look. Let's see. Start your charity today. Starting a charity should be easy. We believe starting a new charity should be quick. Our platform helps you start a new charity quickly and gives you the goals you'll need. Presented with all of the, you will be presented to all of our fiscal sponsors. So they find fiscal sponsors for you. So you'll have your choice of who you would like to partner with. So you might want to look at this organization. I'm gonna put it in the chat. And Justin, I think that was you that you'll be listening to this. I think it was Justin. Let me back out of this. Fiscal sponsor, nonprofit admin. Let's look at this one. Now, when people partner, see, a fiscal sponsor can get from 5% to 15% of what funding you receive, because you might wonder, why are they doing this? Well, they get a percentage of what funding comes through you. Okay. So here they're saying they handle administrative burdens and having your own standalone foundation, fiscal sponsorship versus independent. So this may be another one that you want to look at. So these are just some examples of organizations, and that's just what they do as far as fiscal sponsorship.
Oh, let me get this one.
How do you ask an organization for fiscal sponsorship? So I'm going to, let's see. So I'll put this in the link. In the chat, I mean. And this way, you guys, all of you, you can pull those in case it's helpful for you. Beverly, you have any questions anymore in reference to that?
No, that's good. I'm gonna click those. I'm gonna copy those 2 links there, and the other questions that I have, they're still on the list of to be reviewed later, because I had 3 questions earlier. You know, I submitted.
I only saw 1.
Oh no.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
something must, let me go back.
Mm.
Because she copied them out, so let me look and see what happened. 1 second. Let's see.
There were 3 boxes for questions, so I did use them.
Yeah, I'm going there now. Just kidding. Let's see. Will it let me go in there while we're on?
I can just tell them to you if you want.
Yeah, because yeah, it's not letting me get in there, Beverly, while we're on. So what was the next one?
One was is my director pay considered taxable income, and is the IRS fee tax deductible?
No, the IRS fee, because it's what you did prior to becoming a tax exempt organization. So now let me say this, as far as corporate expenses, yes, anything that you do with a company and is for corporate expenses, but that's nothing to do with just being a tax exempt organization. That's a corporate expense. So that's why in being a corporation, there's certain things you do to start your business that are write-offs, but I'm not a tax person, so I don't know what percentage or whatever that is.
Yeah, I know that, not to that level of detail. I just didn't know if that was something that was, like,
Yeah,
I guess I could add that as a corporate expense in my budget. Is that right? Okay. And then the other part about the director pay, like, is that something that's a taxable income to me?
To you personally? Or your corporation? I mean, how are you asking that?
Well, okay, let me use a different example. Well, Okay, two examples. One, like, okay, so my as a director, part of the grant is going to pay me a certain amount of money to be the director. So I didn't know if that was, to me, taxable income.
Um,
And then, mhm.
your income is taxed the exact same way under a nonprofit as it is a for-profit.
Okay, so
That's a
whatever money
salary.
comes,
Yeah, that's a salary to you. Your
yes,
organization is a tax exempt organization. So a
mhm,
lot of the way that taxes are charged, like to a corporation, a
mhm,
tax exempt organization doesn't have those same taxes. But individual salaries that are paid on as a nonprofit are
mhm,
taxed the same way as salaries on
mhm.
in the for-profit arena.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes total sense. And then if I have people that I'm like with mine is the doing the workshops for the caregivers, my workshop leaders, whatever I would pay them from the grant, to them they have to treat it as it's taxable income for
Yeah,
them.
they pay their own taxes in the
Yeah.
same way that they would if they were paid by IBM
Okay,
or
gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank
But
you.
now
Okay.
all of your trainings and what
Mhm,
you spend on those expenses and
mhm,
all of what you do to run your company, that's
mhm,
what falls under the tax exemption and things that you're doing to promote your programs and stuff. You're not
mhm.
taxed the same way as a for-profit company because
I
that's
understand.
income to run your programs. But
Mhm.
salaries are taxed the same way as in the for-profit arena.
Okay. Okay.
And they're responsible. I mean, that would be on them, Now, if you've got regular employees, same way that you would hold out FICA and all that, you do the
Mhm.
same thing
Yes.
as in a for-profit. If they are a 1099 or a consultant and
Mhm.
they've done a 1099, they're responsible for doing that, just like in the
Okay.
for-profit arena.
Okay. Mhm. Right.
Okay. Now,
Thank you.
Dominique, and now I've gotten in here. I just wasn't doing it right. So I do see your 3 questions. So Dominique, I checked to make sure you didn't have something that I missed. So you didn't have questions, Dominique. You're just on to hear the other questions, right?
Yeah, I did have questions, so whenever,
But
you're
you didn't submit them, right, in advance
no,
because I didn't see them.
I didn't submit them at the time.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Well, what are your questions? Well, let me make sure that I've got the.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, so I think I've asked this on a previous Q&A, but I'm not sure if it still applies. So basically, with my nonprofit, of course, I'm in the design space, the web design, the brand development, the brand strategy, all of that with my agency, and then creating the nonprofit arm of the agency essentially. But I also, if real estate, because I do have our family's real estate investing company as well that I also run. But I know that there are some definite real estate advantages to operating as a nonprofit. So I wanted to know if it was possible that the nonprofit could have a real estate arm, or would it have to be separate because it's a different industry?
Well, no, you could. I've developed a nonprofit for a realtor before. Like she was in Los Angeles, and during the down economy in 2008, she wanted to develop low income housing or transitional housing for people that were losing their homes. Remember in 2008 and up to like 2011, all the thousands of people that lost their homes.
Right.
Well, so that's what she did. She wanted to develop almost like a B&B, a bed and breakfast for
Mhm.
individuals that normally would not have even needed assistance. A lot of mid and high income people lost their homes.
Right.
And so she wanted to create a bed and breakfast environment for them to still feel good about themselves instead of being on cots like at a homeless shelter.
Mm.
So, Dominique, it depends on what you're wanting to do. See, to just say, can it be a nonprofit under real estate? What do you want to do? Do you want to develop low income housing for seniors? Do you want to develop a bed and breakfast kind of environment like she did? What do you want to do?
So, our family, we are certified affordable housing providers, and we basically help people who normally or not, who can't necessarily qualify for a typical mortgage, for a mortgage based on their credit,
Okay.
actually
So
get.
then look at this one. Land Donate. That's what they do.
Mhm.
Discover a marketplace leading platform. What they're helping individuals. We connect investors and philanthropists with nonprofits that have big ideas. Lender supports a robust marketplace of qualified nonprofit borrowers. Lenders tailor offers that combine donations and loans. And the reason why I brought them up is back over here on the search, lend, donate, nonprofit financing.
Mhm.
So if you're wanting to help with low income or even first time home buyers, look at this. See, I didn't even have to finish typing it. Nonprofit first time home buyers program. So you
Mhm.
could have a home buyers program where you're helping, you might want to give $5,000 to each new homeowner in order to help them get in a home. It just depends on you and how you want to design your program.
Okay. So I can design it as a program under the same nonprofit that my the branding and everything is happening.
Yes, your
Underneath?
nonprofit can have multiple programs.
Oh, I
So
see.
just like this one is assist minority borrowers.
Mhm.
Okay, 14 first-time home buyer grants and programs. So again, it depends on how you want to design your program. But yes, your
Do I
real estate company could have all kinds of ventures to
okay.
help, low income and first-time home buyers.
Do I have to register each brand under the nonprofit name the same way you would do a DBA with a for-profit?
No, 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 no. You've got your one nonprofit umbrella, and multiple things can happen under that, just like think of a YMCA.
I see.
They have basketball, they have swimming, they have tutoring, they have childcare, they have, so it all can exist under that same umbrella. Now, depending, just like a childcare center, they had to get a childcare license. So it
Mhm.
depends on what you're doing under there. But if they're just offering a drop-in program and an after-school program, you don't have to be licensed for that. But if you decide to step into childcare, literal childcare, then you have to get a childcare license also attached to the organization.
So I can informally just brand each program and say that this is a program of XYZ nonprofit.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
There's
That's why under my organization, for instance, under Philanthropy Alliance, I have multiple things that I'm doing, from being on the air and radio, teaching grant writing, need a speaker, um, camping, Q&A with Sherita that you're on, the barnyard. See, I've got all these different things that fall up under my organization.
got it.
And we're doing events.
Got it.
And I've got my collaborative teams.
Mm.
Okay.
And even with the trainings, when working with for-profit like corporations, is it an advantage? I'm kind of putting two and two together in my mind here, just
Mhm.
wondering if I'm thinking along the right lines. Is it an advantage for for-profit corporations to work with nonprofits in a sense of, I guess they get the write-off or something? So, for example,
Absolutely. And it increases their business.
right.
Oh, a lot of people shop at Walmart because of all the grants that Walmart gives to help people. That's
Ah,
why Ford has the Ford Foundation.
mhm,
Target has the Target Foundation.
yeah,
When people see also that you are someone that gives and cares,
yeah,
when they want to spend their dollars, that's why people are amazed and don't mind spending $5 at Starbucks, because
yeah,
Starbucks offers millions for youth development.
right. But mainly, what I mean is kind of thinking of like a selling point for programs. So, for example, I'm developing a training and development company, but I'm wondering, should I take those same trainings and also put them under a training umbrella in the nonprofit? And that way, when I'm working with the different corporations and saying, these same trainings that we're offering you, we can do under are also offered under our nonprofit. Is that I'm assuming that's a bigger benefit for them because they're now getting their training from a nonprofit as opposed to a
First of all,
for-profit?
let's talk about the benefit for you.
Oh,
Why would you, since there's grants for training,
mhm.
why would you spend the money under your for-profit when grants can cover all the training that you do?
Aha.
right?
Right.
First, we're looking at the benefits for you. Why, now that's easing the burden on your for-profit side
Mm.
because grants can cover any kind of training.
Mm.
And now it's a program and it's job training or career development or leadership training or self-esteem, whatever kind of training you're doing,
For
right?
for
For
entrepreneurs.
entrepreneurs. So now that eases the burden off of your for-profit, is showing that you are a philanthropist because you have your nonprofit. And now, in order to get that funding, you don't have to get a fiscal agent because it's under your nonprofit. And now you're not cut off from any grant funding and sponsorship that's available. So
Got it.
that's the smart way to do it. It's just most people don't know. And that's why I like doing these calls,
Right.
because a lot of times people are struggling in their for-profit when they don't have to be, when there's funding available to collaborate with your own also nonprofit organization. And you can reach more people that otherwise you would not have been able to reach because they didn't have the funding for the training that you offer.
Right. But it can still be offered to corporations, though. It doesn't
Well,
necessarily.
absolutely.
Okay.
Just because it's under your nonprofit doesn't mean that you can't even get let's say your training is $5,000.
Yeah.
6-week class. Those that can pay it. It's
Wow.
just you have it under your nonprofit for those that can't.
Mm.
And
Got
then
it.
you can get grants to cover their costs.
And
See,
that can have like scholarship.
people think as a nonprofit, you can't charge your full fee. That's a myth. Think about going in a hospital.
Mm.
And most hospitals, unless privately owned, are nonprofit.
Mm.
So your insurance is paying that full fee. But for those that don't have insurance, the hospital has funding to cover that cost.
Mhm.
It's the same way in whatever business you're doing.
Understood. And I can offer like scholarships to those trainings or that scholarship would be coming from the nonprofit. I mean, the grant itself.
Whether you're calling it scholarship or financial aid, or we have a sliding scale payment plan or whatever.
Right.
But you're able to say whatever the language you want to use because you've gotten grants now. So let's say that you're wanting to hold your $5,000 training every other month. So you'll hold 6 in a year, and it's for 20 people. And so you're going after a grant where you can offer it to 10 low-income mid people.
Mhm.
So then when you go after your grant, if the training is 5,000 and you want to offer it for 10, so 10 times 5,000 is what? 50,000? Right? Am I adding wrong?
You said 10 times 50 is
10
500,000.
times 5,000.
Oh, 10 times 5,000. Yeah, 50,000.
So, and your class is bi-monthly. So then do 5,000 times 6, because you want to hold it 6 times a year.
30,000.
So then that's the size grant you're going after. So that now you can offer it to those 10 individuals each class. And then you would put it out there. Let's say you put it out there on Facebook. We've got our training coming again, you guys, and we're offering scholarships to this program. So if you are a low income entrepreneur, someone just starting out, what you would need to do to apply for this is you would need to provide the last 2 copies of your bank statement for your company that shows the income that they've been generating, and then whatever document you would want them to have, their articles of incorporation or to show that they are an LLC or whatever. And now you and your committee are looking at who you want to accept for the next program for those 10 slots, because you got the funding in.
Got it.
Okay.
Would my committee be my board?
You can have a selection committee, or you could use your board of directors. It's up to you.
Okay. And the selection committee can be outside people.
Absolutely. Non-biased individuals, and no one that they're affiliated with could be applying for that scholarship.
Right. Okay. All right.
So that's why you would be going after grants. It advances you, it helps pay you for what you do, and it also is making a difference with others that normally probably could not receive that training.
Okay. And then, so yeah, you've completely warped what I was about to do. I'm so glad I came on today.
Well, see, again, a lot of times we just don't think about it if we don't know it's available in that way.
Yeah, because I was going to just create the for-profit aspect of it and then duplicate it, but it doesn't make sense to duplicate if I can just have it under one and it
Right.
can operate as if, as it was gonna normally function. So I love that.
Like think of many of us have heard of the Betty Ford Center, right? For substance abuse. Used to be, we'd always hear about celebrities going to the Betty Ford Center. But what
Mm,
people don't realize is that the Betty Ford Center is a nonprofit. It's
mm,
just we always thought maybe somebody that needed, you know, a program because maybe they were, hooked on, meth or something.
right,
Well, the Betty Ford Center is a nonprofit, and the reason why a lot of people probably thought they couldn't go is because so many celebrities would end up going to the Betty Ford Center.
right.
So we just assume we can't afford something.
Yeah.
Let me see who went there. What celebrities? Look at all these.
Mm,
Okay. So, but the thing is that it's a nonprofit because there are people that probably need it that can't afford it.
right.
And they've already gone after grants to cover their costs so those individuals could attend.
Right.
The same way with Princeton. See, Princeton has gotten funding in before so that they could give tuition to low-income individuals to attend Princeton.
Mm-hmm.
See, Princeton, free for low-income families. Families that earn less than $100,000 a year would not have to pay for tuition. Why? Because Princeton have already gotten funding to help cover their costs.
Mm-hmm.
So we think because it's this huge school famous for who have gone there and what their fees are, I'm just showing you that it's already happening.
Got it.
And we've got to take it out of our mind that if it's a nonprofit, oh, we can't still have our high fee and we can't get money from the big spending corporations and all that because it's a nonprofit. No, that's not true.
Okay.
You're a nonprofit just so you can go after dollars that normally couldn't afford it.
So
But
for
you
the
still can have your fee for service. Yes.
still have it. Okay, understood. And so for the benefit, for if there is a benefit for like the for-profit businesses or corporations, is there a benefit for them, or it's the same whether they are purchasing training or services from a nonprofit or a
Their
for
benefit for who? Those attending or for the company or who?
or for the company, for the company.
For your for-profit company.
Well, any company that I'm offering this to,
Well,
right?
yeah,
Is there a benefit for them by purchasing their training from a nonprofit versus a for-profit, or it doesn't
it
change?
doesn't matter to them at all because they're still getting the training that they wanted to get. So they don't care whether it's from a for-profit or nonprofit.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
That's why a lot of times you don't even know a particular company is a nonprofit because you're just getting what you need to get.
Mm,
It's like when people go to a hospital, they're not worried about is that hospital a nonprofit or a for-profit, right?
yeah,
Just getting the care they need.
got it. So because there's services being exchanged, it's not something that's like fiscally advantageous for them to purchase from a nonprofit or something. So it's not like, oh, if we purchase because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if they purchase their services from a nonprofit, they still get to write it off their taxes, but
No. If they get a service for it themselves, it's not a write-off. If they're donating to you for others to make a difference, then it's a write-off.
got it. Okay. That cleared it up for me. Okay.
Now,
So
for
it's
anyone else on the call, do you understand what I just said?
yeah.
See, it's just like if you guys come here and you're paying to come to my retreat, and
Mhm,
my retreat is for the 3-day weekend is $2,000.
mhm.
If you pay to come here, that's not a write-off for you as a donation because you're receiving a service. You're just paying for a service. But if you give the 2,000 because I want to bring 4 young ladies here, now it's a write-off for you.
Got it.
Because other than that, you guys, everything we pay for, from clothes to our food, we'd be writing off as a donation and getting it as a tax exemption. No, that's our food. That's a service. That's vacation. That's different than me just giving a donation so someone else can benefit.
Okay.
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 Anything else?
Not at the moment. That was one of my biggest things. So now I know I can just create the different brands for the programs that I want to have under the nonprofit. Oh, that was another question I had was because I'm calling it a foundation essentially. Is that the same thing as like a family foundation or
I'm
yeah.
so glad you're asking that because some people have a misconception about using the term foundation, and they think that to be a foundation, that you have to be a Bill and Melinda Gates.
Right.
Let me see. So I'm bringing it up. Okay. Okay. You can use the word foundation, but you see here public charity versus private, but they both are foundation.
Oh.
You can be a public charitable foundation, which is what you are, or you can be a private foundation, but both of them are foundation. There's nothing wrong with using foundation in your name. I encourage it because when you hear, like, what's the name of your organization?
Dynamic Endeavors.
So if you hear Dynamic Endeavors and then you hear Dynamic Endeavors Foundation and you want to be a donor, which one would you consider?
Dynamic Endeavors Foundation.
Because it automatically tells you it's a nonprofit or working in the nonprofit industry, even if it hasn't received its tax exempt status yet.
Right.
It identifies you the same way. That's why you use .org instead of .com,
Right.
or just like .gov means government,
Right.
edu means education, and
Right.
so it's an identifier. And that's all it is, you guys. It's not a classification. See, people think again to use foundation, they must be a private foundation, like someone that gives the money. And no, it's just identifying you as a nonprofit entity.
Got it. So from your perspective, what is the difference with the public charity and private? Aren't they the same?
No. Public charity is the organization that's offering programs and services.
Mm.
And you're able to get tax exempt write-offs and donations and grants. A private foundation is the organization that is giving the money. And see, there are 29 different kinds of nonprofits. So not all nonprofits have tax exempt status where when someone gives to them, it's a write-off.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
But a private foundation, the sole purpose of a private foundation is to give money that family or person or company has earned.
Say that one more time.
So whereas the public charity, they're giving programs, they're offering things. The private foundation, their sole purpose is to give money based on what was earned by whoever the principal or founder or whoever family is.
Yes.
So, okay, it's like a one-way out type of deal. That's a private foundation. They're not offering programs and stuff like that in addition to giving money. Their only purpose for that private foundation is to give money.
Is to give money. Yes.
Understood.
Like the Bill and Melinda Gates,
Mm.
but the Target Foundation, all the different funders.
Got it.
See,
Understood.
those are private foundations.
Then that would require a separate entity filing.
Yes, because
Got
they're taxed differently and all of that.
Understood. Now I got it. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Yeah.
Let's see, like here, let me see. Oh, we're on the hour, so I'm going to go back over to the yoga where she was asking. But before I do that, I just wanted you guys to see private foundation overview. Private foundation is a 501c3 organization usually established for purpose of granting money to charitable causes. it is the default category the IRS assigns a nonprofit seeking 501c3 status unless the applicant has requested and demonstrated sustainability for public charity. That's why, like Beverly, they're looking at your application and seeing, are you, the way your programs are designed, are they approving you as a public charitable organization, or are they approving you as a private foundation?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why in designing your programs, I'm careful in saying, okay, this is what they're going to be receiving. What's going to be the outcomes? Are you going to be interacting with them at any other time? Are you, because I know what the IRS is looking at in order to classify you. Because everyone is a foundation in their eyes. They're just trying to see, are they classifying you as a public charitable or a private foundation?
Okay, so me saying that because my company was foundation, it might have put a little delay on things because
No,
they
no,
might.
no, no. They're not looking at, did the word delay you? No, they're looking at what you said in your application, and they're just trying to decide, are you public charitable or private? It's not the word, they're just trying to see based on what you're saying, because both the way they see it are foundations. They're just trying to see, are you going to be a public charitable and offering programs and services, or are you going to be a private foundation and they classify you differently?
So the private foundation is a company, normally versus the public, the private foundation is the one that would fund other companies. Is that
Yes,
how?
and see, Beverly, probably the reason that they are assigning you a rep. Remember, you're only giving for them to come to the retreat. And remember, I kept saying, Beverly, it would work better if you were also maybe doing some virtual sessions, if you were helping them. Remember when I was saying that?
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Because it makes them kind of question which way should they classify you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why, probably why they're saying, no, let someone else look at this and see which way we should classify this organization.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you guys, I just want to go back to the yoga instructor. She was wondering, is there grant money for her because she's a yoga instructor? So I'm just going to put in yoga and then grants, and I'm going to put in 2023, and let's do million. So Balance and Flow Yoga Studio gets a $25,000 grant. Basic Needs Giving Partnership awards new grants, 1.25 million in new grants. Paceline begins 2023 campaign with Bike Ride Yoga, their project. Roots to Rise Yoga Studio receives national backing for their grant. Let's see, the program provided 1.5 million in grants. So see, there's funding for yoga. Parkinson's Foundation awards 1 million in community grants. Now, if you are not a nonprofit, then you can go up under the fiscal sponsorship. That's why I jumped from you and went and showed you how you can go up under the umbrella of a nonprofit to go, after grants for your yoga program. Okay. So since you're not on, I don't know if you have any other questions, but anyone else have any questions since we're on the hour? I won't rush you off if you have any other questions.
I'm putting a note on the chat.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's go to chat.
It's not there yet.
Okay.
I did have a question about I guess in terms of what to keep in mind when owning your nonprofit. Is there something that we need to keep in mind in terms of you can lose your nonprofit if you don't do these things every year, or in
You mean like
general?
filing any particular paperwork? The main thing that you want to do is file your 990 every year, which you're filing taxes in April like everyone else. And it's called the 990 form.
And then that's really the only thing you need to do to maintain your status or your organization as a whole.
Yes, you're not filing anything else with the IRS with your tax exemption. You're just doing your taxes. Now,
Okay.
each state may have something different. Like in California, they have the form FTB. They have the FTB 3500. That's that one-time filing to show them that you are state exempt from taxes. And then they have the statement of information form that you do every 2 years. And that's where you list your board members and just show that you are still an operating corporation, so they don't have a lot of dead corporations in their system.
Okay.
So your state may have, but but it's just a simple form like $25. But a lot of companies, once you become a corporation, you will get all this junk mail saying that you need to sign up with them, file your board members every month. That's all a lie. That's
Oh,
just someone trying to get money from you monthly.
got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Because scammers find different ways to get money from you, with even if it's just $25 a month. If they've got 300 organizations giving them $25 a month, that's a pretty good racket.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
So we've answered the yoga question. We've talked about the fiscal sponsorship. And let's see. We've covered all Beverly's questions. Mark, you have any? Oh, you put something in the, let's see, Mark. The future discussion will
This is for
occur
you.
after, oh, it's for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is direct to me. So I will cover that, Mark. And are there any more questions before I sign off? Well, if not, we are coming into the holiday season. All of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving coming up, and I'm going to do one more free training, the free Q&A in December. If I see that it's something that is really getting feedback and that kind of thing, like you guys being on, then I will continue it going into 2024. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. And
I
I
do
want
have
to
a
thank,
question,
yes,
Sherita. So sorry.
it's okay.
My last question is, I know that when you're filing for the nonprofit, you do have to tell them, what programs you plan on having or something of that nature. What if you are coming up with a new program after you filed? Do you have to then send in another document to say, hey, we're going to start this new program? Or I don't
No, and that is such a great, great question, because think of the YMCA when they first started, and their name is even Young Men's Christian Association. Is that their only focus now?
No.
No. So no, you don't have to file new paperwork with the IRS. You just develop programs, and that's why they want you to have a board of directors, because now if you're kind of shifting from your mission, your board is doing their fiduciary responsibility and saying, oh yeah, things have changed and we do need to expand our programming and yada 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 yada. So you're just doing it in-house.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right. Now I'm done.
It's okay. I love the questions, you guys. That's why we do this. So if you guys have any other questions, save it for the next time, send it, just register again, but please share with individuals if they have questions, because it just helps me better to be able to do it in this way versus getting all these individual emails. For one, I just can't do it that way. And two, this is normally $150 an hour if you were doing a one-on-one. So thank you guys.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Thank you, Sherita. Have a great
Beverly,
Thanksgiving.
have a good one. Happy Thanksgiving.
You
Sherita,
too.
can we talk afterwards on the phone?
Yes.
If
Okay.
not, that's fine.
Mark, give me a call at 501. Well, Mark, you have a
Sure,
501
Karen, hold on.
499
501.
499
Oh, dear.
6171.
Karen, stop. Okay, Sherita, one more time, that phone number.
501 499 6171.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll
Okay.
take care of this and get right back here.
Bye,
This is a
Beverly.
short
Bye,
one.
bye, Dominic.
Bye. Bye, Dominique. Bye, Mark. Have a great holiday.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.